crown of history's embrace. Captain's quarters sets the pace with Captain Mayhem at the helm. A voyage of knowledge, a story to round. Captain's quarters weekly delight, where history's treasures take flight. Led by Mayhem, Longwood, and Joe, they explore the past, row by row. Navigator Longwood charts the course, guiding listeners to knowledge.
Hey, welcome back again. Another episode of Captain's Quarters Podcast. Cheers to everyone that's watching us, and I hope we have some people tuning in to us tonight. If not, you're just going to have to watch us in the recorded version of everything. I'm trying to see if I've got my... There we go, there. Do I see nobody in our gallery?
Somebody's watching.
Well, that's surprising. I guess everybody's busy. It's Christmas time, but that's all right. This show will be
Well, the historian is there.
What's that?
Will the historian?
Oh, there's my son. Very good. All right. So, what episode is this? 165, December 9th, 2024. Tonight we'll be talking about the Datil pepper. But for now, our normal way of kicking off the show is telling you how you can find our show. Go to that QR code, go to YouTube, Captain's Quarters Podcast, like us, follow us, and subscribe to us. I like the like part best because it makes me feel good when people like me. But subscribing and following is just as important. So go there, and you can be with us every Monday evening at 8 p.m. For now, though, let's kick it off with 8 Bells. Ladies and gentlemen, 8 Bells, sponsored by the family of Rikers. The reenacting family that does Spanish, they do British, they do colonial, they do Ren, and they do pirate. And they're very, very good at what they do. And they are a part of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers also. So we like to make sure that they are recognized. And Davey, how many do we have tonight? 6?
4.
4. Oh, good. We're not going to test my reading abilities too greatly. Let's pull it off now. Tom Christopher, an American actor. He was best known for his portrayal of villainous upstate Pennsylvania mob boss Carlo Hesser, 90 to 92, 96 to 97, 2005, 2006, 2008, on the ABC soap opera One Life to Live. He also portrayed Hesser's meat twin Mortimer Byrne in 92, 93, 97 on One Life to Live as well. He is also known for playing Hawk, a half-man, half-bird warrior in the second season of Buck Rogers in the 21st Century. In 1981, he was 84 years old, and I do remember him from Buck Rogers. How about David Steinberg, an American historian and U.S. Foreign Service officer? As of 2023, he held the title of Distinguished Professor of Asian Studies Emeritorius at Georgetown University. As a member of the Senior Foreign Service at the U.S. Agency for International Development within the Department of State, Steinberg served as the Director for Technical Assistance in Asia and the Middle East. He was 96 years old. Louis Nelson, an American industrial designer and graphic artist who is best known for designing the mural wall for the Korean War Veterans Memorial on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. From 1958 until 62, he served in the U.S. military, where he became a captain and helicopter instructor. After the Army, he returned to the Pratt Institute, where he graduated with master's degree in industrial design, and in 64, he was 88 years old. And finally, William Edwin Melton, nicknamed Belton Bill and Belton Melton, an American professional baseball player and television sports commentator. He played as a third baseman in Major League Baseball from 68 to 77, most prominently as a member of the Chicago White Sox, where he was a 71 American League home run champion and named to the 1971 American League All-Star team. He also played for the California Angels and the Cleveland Indians. He was a commentator for NBC Sports Chicago White Sox broadcast, and he was 79 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, we like to give them honor to them, their life, and their input into the world, to their fans and their family. Honor. Cheers to go. 8 Bells, Davey. very good. Now, we like to lighten it up just a little bit with Mini Mayhem. Now, Mini Mayhem always has a joke of the week. I will not guarantee these jokes are that great. Davey, on the other hand, thinks they're all great. So let's have Mini Mayhem come in and tell us what he's got.
Ahoy, mates! Mini Mayhem here with Joke of the Week. Sponsored by Salt City Comics. Why did the pirate put a wreath on his door? Think about it, and I'll give you the answer at the end of the show.
All right, I'm not sure I want to hear this one, but ladies and gentlemen, we always do the reveal at the end of the show. It's kind of a way for us to get you to stay and listen to the rest of our whatever. Okay, quote of the week by Spyglass Travel. If you want a really great walking tour of St. Augustine, and I mean a walking tour that lasts at least an hour, history abounds with my friends at Spyglass Travel. Not only do you get to learn history of the greatest city and the oldest city in the nation, but you also get a good cardio workout. Spyglass Travel. Call them up. They are wonderful. And what is that quote, Davey? Christmas is a season not only of rejoicing, but of reflection. The great Winston Churchill. And it should be, especially with the way things are going in the world right now. We all need to be reflecting on our lives and the way things are. Great quote, Davey. Great quote. And we always like to at least throw the National Day of in there. So, Davey, what do we got? There's only a few. I looked at them. Lutefisk Day. I have no idea what this is, but it reminds residents in Norway, Finland, and Sweden to begin preparing their lutefisk for Christmas. The day is also referred to as Anna's Day, in case you're not Scandinavian. Lutefisk is basically cod that gets soaked in lye. After the cod is caught, it's dried to the point of becoming firm and leathery. To tenderize the fish and bring it back to its former condition, it gets soaked in lye. Once it's nice and tender, the lutefisk is skinned and boned. I'm not sure. Never mind. Yeah. It's Christmas card day, ladies and gentlemen. Each year around this time, friends and family begin mailing their holiday cards. Christmas card day on December 9th serves as a reminder to get your stamps, your envelopes, and your cards together so you can share your holiday cheer. Now, I used to do that when I was in the military stationed overseas, but I haven't written a Christmas card in ages. Okay. And it's National Pastry Day. Celebrates one of the world's most favored baked goods. On December 9th, visit your local bakery and pick up one or two of your favorite kinds. A few of the more common bakery items include pies, tarts, quiches, and pastries. Bakers create both savory and sweet dishes from the doughs they create. Additionally, they continue to develop new and delicious creations all the time. And our guests probably have some ideas to go with this, so we'll see what happens. And Weary Willie Day. When I saw this, I really had to read about it because I was not sure I wanted to have this one on here. Ray recognizes the art of clowning and the impact it has on our lives. This holiday was named for the character made famous by the great Emmett Kelly, who was born on this day in 1898. If you know anything about Emmett Kelly, you know he was the clown of all clowns. And that brings us into one other name. Those of you that know anything about clowning, the Great Red Skeleton. But those are our days of in history. And now we move on to Question of the Week. Now, Question of the Week is sponsored by Ancient City Sirens. You need dancers for your event. They know all of it. Belly dancing, tribal dancing, you name it, they can do it. Miss Gina and her girls, it's always lovely to have them at any event. And your Question of the Week, clowns, love them or hate them, because there's been some things that have made people scared to death of clowns. In fact, a haunted house I built in Tucson, Arizona in the year 2000, we had one room that was filled with clowns. And I had people that refused to go past it. It was hilarious to me. But clowns, love them or hate them, you can mention something in there along with, oh, look at that. There's a clown. Yeah. Wow. So that being said, it's time to do real quick This Week in Nautical History, sponsored by our good friends at Florida Water Tours. I said the Spyglass Travel, you get a good walking tour of the city of St. Augustine. Florida Water Tours gives you a great tour and a view of the city of St. Augustine from the Matanzas River Bay. They are our sponsors for This Week in Nautical History. Davey, take it away.
Welcome to This Week in Nautical History, sponsored by our friends at Florida Water Tours. Experience the Intercoastal Waterway at its finest, featuring picture-perfect attractions. We begin this week in nautical history in the year 1488. Bartolomeu Diaz returns to Portugal after becoming first known European to sail around the Cape of Good Hope. 1600. Sea battle at Manila Bay between Oliver van Noort's Dutch ships and a Spanish fleet. Dutch sink the Spanish galleon San Diego. 350 die. 1652. Sea battle at Dungeness. Dutch Lieutenant Admiral Martin Tromp defeats an English fleet led by Robert Blake. 1814. The Battle of Lake Borgne in Louisiana. British victory over the United States. 1866. First yacht race across Atlantic Ocean. Schooners Fleetwing, Vesta, and the Henrietta, with New York Playboy Gordon Bennett on board, leave Sandy Hook for the Scilly Islands. The Henrietta wins. 1893. 11 fishing ships wash up at Wadden Sea. 22 killed. 1941. Adolf Hitler orders U.S. ships and those loyal to her to be torpedoed 3 days before declaring war on the U.S. Also, 1941, British battleship Prince of Wales and battlecruiser Repulse sunk following Japanese aerial attacks off Malaya. 840 men die. Also 1941, U-557 torpedoes British cruiser Galatea. And, believe it or not, 1941, German submarine U-127 sinks. And once again, 1941, USS Swordfish becomes first U.S. sub to sink a Japanese ship. And finally, in 1991, ferry boat Salem Express sinks in the Red Sea. 476 killed. And that was This Week in Nautical History.
Very good, Davey. You always find some of the best ones, but it also gives me a little bit of a chuckle when I listen to you try to sound off on some of those words.
Yeah, I try my best.
Some of them get a little tough. All right, so before we move into our guest, Santa and Mayhem rides, ladies and gentlemen. There is only one more Santa ride left through the Night of Lights and the Tasting Tours website. You go to tastingtours.com and you can find out that one ride. But after Christmas, when Santa goes back to the North Pole, guess what? Captain Mayhem will be doing rides through St. Augustine and the Night of Lights on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of the first and the second week of January. 4 rides every night. There are a few of those rides already booked, but I'll be putting out a post over the next day or two. You can book the entire cart, or you can book individual seating. We take up to 8 or 9, and you get a 45 to 55-minute ride around. I'm trying to tell my friends, if they come and take the 8:30 trip, which is the last one, then I'm free to go have a rum at the end of the night. Incentive is always a good thing with a pirate. So, tastingtours.com and get that website down. Gina's event, when is that? That is coming up on December 21st. Miss Gina, one of our sponsors, has her annual Christmas holiday gala, and it is at the St. Augustine Shrine Club, just down here near Moultrie Creek. I have to think about it for a minute. It's been a great event for the last couple of years. I've not been able to attend because I'm busy working, but it's a great event. and she sells out all the tickets, and the money that they raise goes to children in St. Johns County and Alia's Acres. I do not know how many tickets they have left, but I do urge you to click that QR code and find out if there's any left so you can go and have fun. I know at least 18 of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers, if not more, are attending the event. So the 21st from 7 to 11 at the St. Augustine Shrine Club. Seawolves, do they have any events? They do. They have breakfast. That was last week.
Yep.
Yep, and they did well. And there's a good picture of them. Breakfast with Santa. Let's see who's in that picture. All right, very good. There's a few people in that picture that, well, we're going to have conversations with.
A couple of our crewmates, Captain.
A couple of our crewmates have volunteered to help them out. Very good. Now, let's see. Old City Pirate Fest. That is coming up the 1st and 2nd of February, 2025. We are extending it to an extra day, a Saturday and Sunday. We are now starting to try to come up with the sponsors for it and vendors and entertainment. It is a free event. For some reason, we made the event free last year, and we did just as well successfully financially as the years before when we charged for it. I don't understand how that worked, but it worked. So from now on, it is a free event for all people to come in. We have great vendors, we have great entertainment, and we have a few other surprises, like at least one confirmed Pirates of the Caribbean actors will be on hand at least one of those days for autographs and pictures.
Yay.
But we're not going to tell you who it is right yet, but we will let you know. And I think that's it, Davey.
Yep.
I think so. So on that note, it's time to bring our guest in. And I told them before the show that we would take up about 14 minutes, and well, guess what? So Mayhem Datil Pepper Farms. Now, believe it or not, I don't have anything to do with this. They just like the name Mayhem, and we've become friends ever since. And I do like their datil peppers. So save the datil, Mayhem Datil Pepper Farms. And here they are, Scott and Troy. Hello, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. We're going to talk datil peppers. We're going to talk history. We're going to just have a good time. There's no time limit on our conversation. I hope you got rum in your mug.
Just topped it off.
Very good. And let's start with a very simple one. How long has Mayhem Farms Datil Pepper been in business?
2012 is when we started growing datil peppers for the first year.
Very good. And you're not based in St. Johns County. You're based in
Putnam County. We're south of Blacka, north of Crescent City in Pomona Park, Florida.
Very good. So what got you into having a datil pepper farm?
Well, I'm actually a Menorcan. In fact, the first original name of our hot sauce was Menorcan Mayhem, and we ended up getting a lot of people saying Moroccan, and so it just was confusing for some people, which was surprising for me, growing up in the area, and the Menorcan culture is so big in St. Augustine and Northeast Florida. So now we became Mayhem. So I grew up having datil peppers on just about every meal. We had Perlo. I mean, and I'm old enough to remember when, the aunts and uncles would all get together, we'd have gopher stew. So it was just part of my nostalgia of my family to always have datil peppers. And my brother and I started making hot sauce and giving it out to friends, including Troy. And he initially didn't even really pay attention to, stuck it on the shelf in his refrigerator, forgot about it till we came back down. It's like, hey, how'd you like the hot sauce? And he was like, what hot sauce? And so I was like, get that out, and pulled it out of the refrigerator and gave him some, and he became a convert. And you know what they say, the zeal of a convert is Troy became a definite aficionado of the datil pepper from that moment on.
And then, I mean, we tried to find datil peppers commercially grown at all, and we couldn't find them at all. And luckily, his brother had a friend that was renting a house in St. Augustine and got a hold of a couple pounds, and they made the sauce. And I couldn't for 4 years find peppers I could actually purchase to make more of the sauce. I loved it. I mean, I was like in love with it immediately. And so that's where we actually started growing our own dattle peppers and started growing our own dattle pepper, and again to keep the heirloom strain too.
Well, we had our father. Let me see how I'm going to do this. I know I'm stuttering back and forth. We're from here also, but our father was in the military, and we ended up leaving here and spending time in Texas and Arizona. But we always had in the cupboard the kind of dattle pepper we had was the dattle peppers in a nice jar with white vinegar.
White vinegar is all you need to do.
Yep. That's it. And it was for our black-eyed peas and our soups and whatever else. And we'd have some of my dad's family would ship him dattle peppers because all the family grew them here. But they didn't grow them commercially. They just grew them for the family.
That's right. What most people do. Yeah. And
so is it totally true? I know the answer, but let's get a good answer. There's some good looking dattle peppers there. Is it totally true that dattle peppers only really grow in this part of the country, this part of the world?
I think for the most part it is, but I think it's not necessarily to do with the pepper itself. I think it's to do with the culture. And people don't really know, about what they are and what it takes to grow them. And they're a very labor intensive pepper to grow in any kind of number. So our goal is to spread this thing out. So we sell seeds as well as, fresh peppers. We ship seeds all over the country. I'd love to hear from somebody up in, Oregon or somewhere, Michigan, that has them growing in a greenhouse somewhere. That would make me feel great.
So
I think it's just really a cultural thing here, which is why we're really trying to make it the dattle pepper, the state pepper of Florida.
Right. When you start doing that, or when you need help, let me know. I'm all for using my name and my character to be a part of whatever you guys want to do, because it's my upbringing too.
Awesome. We actually have the Save the Dattle petition. Actually, we have 600 signatures already from this past Dattle Pepper Festival that we held here back this past October. We already have 600. There you go. And so we've already got that start to that, we're on the way.
Wow, that's an old school picture there.
I think we need to figure out a way to have you be a part of the Old City Pirate Fest the first weekend in February.
That'd be fun.
Yep.
I think we can bring you down. We'll talk about that, and we'll parlay a deal, as it were.
Sounds good.
So when you send the seeds out to places across all 4 points of the compass, do you send any instructions with the seeds on how they should be taken care of and cultivated properly?
Absolutely. We send very detailed instructions to the point where people send messages through Instagram and Facebook and so on, or emails asking, "Are we really have to do this?" Yeah, pretty much. And they'll say, "I didn't have any come up, but I did water them too much," and then they know what happened. I'll be glad to send them more seeds. I want everybody in the nation to grow dattle peppers. We're not hoarding these here going, "Oh, no, you only want to buy dattle peppers from us." We love hearing people's stories of growing their own dattle peppers and their trials and tribulations that both Scott and I have been banging our head against the wall for quite a few years doing. We really want to have that dattle pepper known worldwide.
My brother is Ransom Mayhem in the comments there, and he's over in Panama City, and we have an aunt. We have an Aunt Marty. Now she's passed away, I guess maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and she cultivated plants for the family, and she swore up and down that the only reason that she made them grow so well is because dattle pepper plants have to have chicken poop. That's the fertilizer. Chicken poop.
So many.
Hey, you can't go wrong with chicken poop. It is a fantastic natural fertilizer, and another one that a lot of people would do in the old days is fish heads and the shells of shrimp and things like that. They would bury in the pots with them. That natural stuff works great. And our goal of getting everybody to have these things, and we help out other dattle pepper companies and hot sauce companies, whatever we can do. And it's kind of the nautical phrase that I came up with a few years ago when we started doing this is that, a rising tide lifts all ships. And if everybody else is doing good selling datil peppers and growing datil peppers, it just enhances the name. It puts it out there for everybody, and it helps us all.
So when you're growing, when we looked at a picture, Davey, put the one up there there's a good one of underneath the grow areas. You had another one pre-show. There it is.
Yeah.
So you have two crops growing, right?
Yes, we have two different, we call them hoops because the original design was actually made with PVC and a hoop house, almost like a Quonset hut. And
Okay.
over time, they've modified themselves out to where we were like, all right, we need to put up like a fern growing area, which is what this is, without the size. We put deer fencing around the outside to keep the deer out. But we have two different grow houses. One has 1,000 pepper plants, or datil pepper plants, and the other one has 600. And that's all we grow on our farm. And our farm was actually purchased by my great-great-grandfather in 1883.
So that's 1,600 plants. Does that provide you with enough peppers per year, or is there more than one growing season?
There's only pretty much one growing season. We start pulling in July, and I'm literally pulling the last ones probably tomorrow to put in the freezer for different hot sauce companies and different vendors that need them over the next over the winter time, including our own sauces and barbecue sauce too. And so they don't go dormant. Most companies, like if you grow jalapenos, you can cut them back over the winter time. Doesn't matter. Come springtime, they pop right back up. Datil pepper plants generally do not do that, and if they do, they don't grow very large peppers. They grow what we call dinks, which are about a third of the size. They still have the flavor and all, but they start modifying or changing themselves. That's why we replant every single year. Our hardest time's getting ready to come up over the next month and a half, 2 months. And that is to literally recondition every single pot out there. We're resetting all of our lines, our watering lines out there also, and redoing the entire insides of both hoops. And we do that every year to grow the best datil pepper we possibly can, bar none.
Do you have other people working with you, or is it the two of you doing all the work?
It is myself, my wife, Heidi, Scott and his family, and then my extended family come up all the time and help pick peppers and plant plants. Scott and I always sort of giggle about being the Tom Sawyer effect on the planting weekend. We don't plant any plants. We go by and take care of fertilizer and make sure all the strawberries are all set up and everything's good to go. But everybody just plants the plants during their weekend, and they love doing it. They absolutely love coming up and doing it. And of course, the kids run around with their little motorbikes and that kind of stuff out here in 100 acres, so they all have a good time. So it's all about family for us.
Well, that's very cool. It's a family operation. My son, I think we kind of covered this, but it might not have been clear. My brother Ransom Mayhem just popped up there with a question. You guys are not based in St. Augustine.
We are not based in St. Augustine. We're in Pomona Park, Florida. Yes.
Yeah, which is near Palatka.
Yep, south of Palatka, 12 miles south of Palatka, exactly between Palatka and Crescent City.
So, how many bottles of sauce do you think or do you even know that you produce on a yearly basis?
Man, well, we do typically 3 to 4 cooks. We usually get about 200 cases of 12 bottles each. So I'm an English teacher, so the math makes me sad.
It's about 2,400 bottles.
What's my calculator here?
About 2,400 bottles.
Carry the freckle.
Yeah.
Now, do you have only one flavor?
Ooh.
We did have one flavor. We just came out with a datil-based barbecue sauce called Datilman's Gold, which is just, people have been asking us to make this since we first started doing food shows way back when we were giving this stuff away, and we finally found somebody that can put it together and make it the way we want it. We provide our own datils, of course, for all of this, and it is, to me, it's the best barbecue sauce I've ever tried. It's good on everything.
It really is amazing.
Fantastic.
Well, we're going to have to, if you come and do the festival, the Pirate Festival, we're going to have some tastings, I think.
I have
We
no
have to work
problem on
that
that.
out.
We have plenty. Yep. No
And
worries.
the Saturday night of the event is we try to set it up that the captain has a table, and anybody that wants to come and sit at the captain's table. Last year I was so busy, some of my crew said, "You never sat down at the table," but we're going to make an effort to do that, and we're actually making an effort to have a dinner to go with it. But it might be kind of cool to have some of your Datil pepper there with our dinner and infuse a few rums.
We can make that happen. We don't have to twist our arm too hard to make rum.
And just to make sure that we don't get in trouble with anybody, I buy the rum, you come infuse it, and we'll give it away.
We'll bring the Datil peppers. No problem.
The Datil peppers, and we'll have Datil pepper rum that night and see how people like that.
Great.
That sounds like a good idea to me. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Look at that. Mandy, have you had Mandy's out in Utah? When you've been back this way, she comes back every once in a while with
We'll
us.
make Mandy drink it.
Yeah, well, Mandy likes rum. So look at those peppers. Very good. So have you had anything with Datil pepper yet?
Yeah, there's a little Datil pepper hot sauce place that we go at, and we've tried a lot of their different stuff, and my father-in-law is obsessed with it, so we always bring it back for him.
That'd be Hot Stuff Mon?
Hot Stuff Mon.
It might be. I'm trying to remember what he's next door to, but I know there's like wine and stuff in there too, or something to that effect. But yeah, it's just this little offset shop.
It's her sister.
Yep. On Treasure Street.
Yeah, that would be it.
Yep.
So are there I always fuddle around when I try to ask certain questions. So here, what's the easiest way to get your Datil pepper sauce?
Go to www.savethedatil.com and we'll ship it to you. We'll ship it to your friends in Utah. We'll ship it anywhere in the continental United States.
And also, we also have a special for the Captain Mayhem fans out there. That if you put Captain Mayhem spelled out, okay, you get 10% at checkout. And we appreciate everything you do.
Well, very good. That'll be. I'll probably have to go in there and buy some myself. And we're going to limit that to the first 50 people?
Yes.
So the first 50 people that watch our show or that know about what's going on, if you go and buy you some Datil pepper sauce and have it shipped to you, you get 10% off. I think that's a good deal. That's a Mayhem special. I like that. So,
it was a Mayhem special. You got it.
Now, you've made some reference to your property. I've been in the family since the 1880s, I think you said?
1883. Yes, sir. My great-great-grandfather.
So, and how many acres is it out there?
At one point, it was from Dunn's Creek all the way to Pomona Park. So it was quite a few thousand acres. And over the years, Flagler and different odds and ends, basically chewed it away. State taxes, those kind of things. So we still have 100 acres between my cousins and I. And of course, if you put that picture back up, you'll see our lake in the background. That's actually where we get all of our water from also. It's Spring Lake. We call it Mirror Lake because it has beautiful pictures of it looking just like a mirror. And but it's about 35 feet deep, all spring fed. So it's warm in the winter. We can get out there. Well, warm-ish. Okay. But in the summertime, it may be warm on the very top of it, but underneath it's 78 to 80 degrees, so it's really comfortable whenever we get done picking peppers at 115 degree temperatures.
So you've made this a family operation. You've made a name for yourself. Have you done some national food programs or been on any of the TV shows that are always on the Food Channel or whatever else? Have you been highlighted in any way, shape, or form? Basically, brag about yourself for a few.
We were on the St. Augustine episode of True South on ESPN. And it was one of the coolest experiences I think that I've ever had in my life. It just to be a part of that and just the professionalism that they just show with everything they do. And it was just a really cool thing to see. And then some of the other nice places in St. Augustine, like Osteen's Restaurant, Kyle's Seafood was featured on there. They talked a little bit about the Menorcan, culture and really featured us pretty well. And it was just it was very neat. It's still in reruns. You can see it. It's the last season was at season 5. And St. Augustine episode, they even talked about Troy's great-great-grandfather, who we took him up the Ocklawaha River in the boat, and they got some good drone shots, and talked about Troy's great-great-grandfather
behind us.
He mapped the first third of the Ocklawaha River with a 10-foot long rope.
1913. I mean, I made the comment in True South that I'm not brave enough to get off the boat in the Ocklawaha River. There's no way. Not happening.
No. What? You're not saying there's gators there, are you?
No gators.
What's that?
There's one or two in there.
Yeah, just a few. So let's talk about your relation. Is this the Michler side of the family that we're talking about?
That it would be my side of the family would be the Michlers, yes, sir. And I grew up around the Menorcan thing, eating, like I said, Perlo and gopher stew and donac stew. We did all of that. It was always a big part of our family. Datil pepper was always prevalent in everything that we ate, especially over at my grandparents' house. I mean, she always had a couple of bottles of what she called her Mima's hot stuff. And that was kind of what got us started, my brother and I, making sauce to give out, because we didn't want that tradition to die away. As people start getting older, your family starts thinning out, and somebody's got to pick up the torch and carry it,
Yeah, and what's really sad is it's always the moms and the grandmoms that is the glue to keep the families together.
Very much so. And I was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with my grandmother, with Mima, in after school and during the summer. So I kind of learned at her elbow a lot of the cooking techniques and a lot of things that she did. And I still use them now, feeding my own family. And I think that's part of where I got my love of cooking and doing all that, was just, watching her, prepare food for everybody.
So how close to her recipe is your actual sauce then?
It's actually not really close. We first started making it, and it was a fairly close representation. My problem when we started really expanding out and putting it in front of a lot more people, my brother and I kind of came to the conclusion that we didn't want to have to kind of, have that family battle with the cousins, whatnot, of, hey, you're selling Mima's hot sauce and things like that. And I take that as that's a realistic thing. I think it's a family deal. And we still have cousins get together where we have her handwritten recipe and we make her exact recipe. So it's two separate things, but our sauce is a couple of degrees away from a traditional, family style Menorcan hot sauce.
It's 17 ingredients of datilicious.
So when people think hot sauce and hot peppers, everybody always goes to the idea of ghost peppers or jalapenos or the kind of peppers.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to eat that kind of stuff, but when your eyeballs are crying and the fun part is challenging your friends. And I'll tell you a little story. Somebody in this group of 5, we had a chili cook-off several years ago within our crew, and somebody within this group of 5 made a small individual crock pot of chili and brought it to the captain, because I talk about liking hot food. I almost had a heart attack that night because he put ghost peppers in it. And I say he because that might tell you it was not Mandy. It was Davey there. And boy, I took one big bite to start with, and then trying to be as brave as I could, I took another bite, but I had to step back from it because it was friggin' hot. But that's that kind of hot. When I say it's fun to do that with your friends and really tease them up and do whatever. But if you're really looking at peppers and sauces and things to accentuate your meals, you don't want it blazing hot.
No, you'd want datil.
Yeah, you don't want that. And we're trying to get in restaurants, and why would a chef want to put something on the table after he has spent hours and days coming up with a recipe and perfecting his flavors, and all you're going to do is just burn it out. We like to say that, our sauce is much more of an accompaniment. It's not the main. It's not the main idea of the meal. It's just a little extra, and you can use it as an ingredient. You can use it as a condiment, and it's very versatile. I've tried the hot sauces with ghost pepper. I have not tried the Reaper X. My neighbor across the street grows Carolina Reapers, and I've tried his. And yeah, man, they are hot. But you can only do a little bit of that, and then it goes away. It's just not enjoyable to me.
You have those that want burn your brains out. I want the hottest thing you can possibly give me. I don't care what my taste buds like it or not like it. And then you have some of us that want the endorphin rush, but they want it with a flavor rather than just some blazing heat. And that's where our sauce comes into play, because it really is a perfect blend of both heat and flavor. And amazingly enough, it's actually really good for you too. Not just good for you, but the ingredients, it's low sugar, it's low carb, it's low sodium, which we didn't intend to do that. That's just the way it turned out, because we wanted the flavor to be there. And once they tested it, we found out that it actually wasn't bad. Now our barbecue sauce, it's got a few more sugars in it because it's much more sweet, but our hot sauce really is not too bad for you.
I can't wait to try the barbecue sauce then too. So my brother Ransom Mayhem puts up there, and I have a bottle of it, or a jar of it here, crushed datil peppers. And forgive his spelling, my brother's got some eyesight problems, so he's having problems typing. So I gotta give him kudos for being in there and actually typing in here. So that's great for us. But crushed datil peppers that you sprinkle on your food.
Mm-hmm. Like a crushed red pepper?
Yeah. Do you do that?
Go ahead, Troy.
Well,
I mean, we've had dry rubs before, but
we've experimented with dehydrating. Unless you get into a huge commercial situation where you're dehydrating hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds at a time, it doesn't really make it cost effective for us. Most of our customers really want the fresh pepper to be sent to them. That's why we send fresh datil peppers all over the nation. We just ended them yesterday. I shipped the last group out today. But we want people to get the freshest peppers they possibly can. And I'll tell you, USPS does a good job for us. Shout out to USPS. They get our peppers even when it's cold. They get there really good, and we've been thrilled to death with our relationship with them.
So, Will the Historian is up in northern Alabama. Just to give you an idea, we have people watching us from Panama City, Florida, Michigan, northern Alabama, and I'll go back and see if there's anybody else watching. But so you send peppers, not just sauce, but you do send peppers out too, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. We pick them
on.
One
of the biggest things that we do.
Yep. People
love to get the peppers. They come to St. Augustine. They travel around. They hear a little bit about it, and maybe in a couple of restaurants here and there. They see the stuff, and then once people try it, almost universally, everybody that's tried these things, they just go, "Wow, this is such a unique flavor. It's so good."
Yeah.
And they want to take it home and try it and share it with their friends. So
there's a good question up on the screen right now. Do you have any recipes that are on your website? Have you done that yet?
I'm pointing to Scott on that one.
We had recipes up. Yes, I know. And
we've had
it, and we've through several variations of our website, we had recipes up and taken them back down again. But yes, we definitely is something we're actually dealing with a website thing right now. So that we may have to actually add the recipes back to the website again. Yes, that was me.
And yes, again.
I put datil peppers in my chili.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you don't need it. You can take them back out. You just want the flavor. If you take the seeds out too and cut them up real fine, you'll get the datil pepper flavor. Not a whole lot of heat, but you want that flavor.
Well, I dice up a couple depending on how much I'm doing. I dice it up fine on the board, dice it up really, really fine, and then just put it all in there. And
I'm all in for the datil pepper heat. It has the right amount of heat. And it's a real late heat too. It doesn't, a lot of peppers really, they burn your tongue right when you bite into them. And with the datil pepper, it's a really late heat. It's a heat that's further back in your throat, so you can still taste the next bite of food that's frying. And that's really everybody's datil pepper sauces, jams, jellies, all that.
I will tell you this: when you dice up datil peppers, if you forget to wash your hands and then touch other parts of your body.
All right. So funny note about that: when we were on the TV show True South, and we're talking to John T. Edge, and he was interviewing us in the garage of our farm, and talked about the heat of the pepper and flavor and everything like that. And he said, if I eat this thing, will it light me up? Well, yeah, absolutely. And the last line of our interview on the show, and I said, just one thing to remember is you've been handling that. Make sure you wash your hands before you go to the bathroom. And so
Yep.
as a longtime junior high teacher, it made me quite happy that I could get a bathroom joke on national TV, because I'm surrounded by it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Hey, that's why they call us Mayhem. We're always putting up with something.
Hey, I tell you what, I have a really good story, but it's not suitable for our podcast.
That'd be an over rum. I'll take that over
there
rum.
you go.
Yeah, it's so, but yeah, you, and I'll dice up 2, 3, or 4 depending on the size of the pepper and depending on the heat, because I have I don't know how many gallon chili pot it is that I make the chili in a slow cooker, but it's probably, I'm going to say it's probably at least a 5 or 6 gallon chili pot, and 2 or 3 peppers is usually about all I need.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. If you dice it up and put it in there, it really it fuses the entire chili with it.
That's absolutely great.
And I make either a deer meat chili, or I make a combination beef and pork chili.
Okay. When are we coming over?
Yeah, and I put the two together. But the datil peppers, now I've done a few where the crews come over to have chili, and I've done a few, and at the end of the night, I've got a lot of chili left, and I have some of the crew go, "It's really good, but we can't handle it."
Yeah, we've heard that.
I'm sitting there eating it going, "Really? Come on. Really? What kind of pirates are you?"
Yeah, when I cook for the family, for both sides of the family, it's always mild, and let everybody put their own Mayhem on it, or I'll dice up datil peppers or whatever they want, no problem. They can make it as hot as they want, but not everybody likes that heat.
No. I mean, and that's as always a backup. I like my datil pepper and white vinegar for some of my stuff. I really
absolutely do. And it's a great way to go, because it just enhances the flavor of the datil. I've got probably 2 big jars sitting in my cupboard right now with nothing but datil and white vinegar.
We're all Southern boys here, so we eat our black-eyed peas there at the beginning of the year, right?
Collard greens.
Yeah, and collard greens. And so there's datil peppers and all of that.
Absolutely.
So it's a good thing.
Yep.
I keep seeing everybody's popping up with good questions, so I'm going to start at the front here and see who's that's my wife, and she didn't grow up eating spicy food, so she says it's harder to handle as an adult. I'll give her that.
It is. And my wife is the same way, and she is slowly over the many years of being datilized and is becoming more and more able to handle spicy food. She's still not on full on datil, but she's getting there. It's hard to break that,
So my mother-in-law, Carol, shout out, makes a datil pepper relish that's absolutely spectacular. And she was not a spicy kind of person. She didn't like anything that had any spice to it whatsoever. And then when we started, making stuff with a little bit of datil peppers in it, not hot, just with a little flavor. It's like, that's really unique. I really like that. And she bought a couple different versions of different relishes, and then she started making her own. And it's great. We're hoping to be able to bring it back out on the market sometime next year.
So there are, now you can correct me because if I get this wrong, you're the experts, I'm not. There are sweet dattles and hot dattles, correct?
Scott?
Uh-huh.
Is that true?
Kinda.
Kind of.
Oh, we have to take a fifth
only
on
grow
this one.
hot datil. So I really believe that even though there is some similarity in the flavor, that the sweet datil, I believe, is a completely different species of peppers. I don't think it's any type of datil at all. It may even be a hybridized offshoot from years gone by.
Bell pepper. Yeah.
People ask us all the time if they can get them from us, and I mean, not to be rude about it, but we won't even let them on the property because we're so worried about maintaining
Not the customer,
line
the
of our peppers.
Yeah.
And the way to tell is if you've got a plant and you think it's a datil pepper and your peppers turn red, it is not a datil pepper. It is
So they
some
only
other
are
variety,
green
probably
and orange, right?
Green and
go
orange,
from
and
green to
then the
orange.
combination of yellow going to orange.
Okay. So red ones are not datil.
Correct.
Okay, that's a good.
And that's why we're so particular about what we do. We use our seeds each year from our plants, which are only grown here. We only grow datil peppers on the property, and we take those seeds. We have those seeds made into seedlings, and we replant them every single year. Normally, the first or second week in February, we're replanting everything.
So, do you grow a specific number that are just for the seeds?
We have a mother plant. We look at a plant and go, oh yeah, that's her. Come on. When I take it up and I'll put it up next to the garage and I'll baby it and the plant. One year we actually nicknamed it Arnold because it was so huge. But that's the difference of growing 1,600 or one. One person can get a couple of years or 2, 3, or 4 years out of a datil pepper plant as long as they're caring for one or maybe two, maybe three on the tops. But when you're talking about the volume we're trying to get out of these plants, each year you start losing the volume of peppers, and because the size changing and the number of actual picks you can get out of the plant itself is not as much. And that's one of the reasons why we're very particular about how we put and we replant every year.
And the flavor becomes inconsistent as well.
It does.
The longer you grow them, they become less consistent. And for us, it's kind of like a square foot of production that we can get out of them. And so we have to go through that extra step of pulling them out.
Do you sell plants also, or do you just sell seeds?
We don't ship plants, but we do sell plants. We have a couple of events each spring where we invite people to come to the farm and they can come pick up some seedling plants. So the same seedlings that we're putting in our grow house at the time. And you can come get those. You can get the soil that we use and take that home and have at it. And if you ever have a problem, you can always reach out to us, and we're more than willing to give you advice and help. And, sometimes we've even had people come back and say they've tried something that we never thought of. So like I said, it's that whole, rising tide lifts all ships. The more we help each other, the better off we all are.
Earlier, you mentioned Kyle's, who was in the show with you guys, Kyle's Seafood down there on US 1.
Shout out.
What's that?
Shout out to Colin. Make some of the best Menorcan clam chowder I ever had.
Yeah.
Mike makes the best Menorcan clam chowder I've had a lot. And
at times, that's where I've gone to get my datil pepper plants, because he's had datil pepper plants there. So we've gone and in fact, my brother has done the same thing. He's gone and bought some plants and taken them over to Panama City. And we, at one point in time, we had 3 or 4 plants in our backyard in our other house. And man, did we have a boatload of peppers. But that was one of the years that one of the hurricanes came through and dumped water on everything and drowned everything out. And datil peppers don't do well when you put a lot of water on them.
Yeah, if you look at one of those pictures we have of inside the grow house, you'll see that all of ours are in pots. We didn't want to control not only the fertilizer, but we also want to control the amount of water. And our soil is extremely loamy. If you take a gallon of water and pour it through our soil, you'll get most of the gallon of water out of it. So we water more often during the day rather than for a long period of time. Because once a datil pepper plant gets a wet foot, you're going to lose the plant. It'll die right in front of you. You go, what's going on here? I'm watering it just fine. It's getting plenty of sun. What's happened? Yeah. It's just got a wet foot. And like I said, we've had numerous growers, commercial growers, that have gone out of business over the years that have tried to do that in the ground, and they can get away with it as long as there's no big hurricanes that dump 20 inches of rain. They're gone at that point.
Here's a good question for you. Can you take the peppers, dry them out, and then put them in a pepper grinder and use it to sprinkle on your food?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, if you have a dehydrator and you put a pound of peppers in there, you can do them in a few hours to a few days. And just it depends on how good the dehydrator is. But I will tell you, make sure you put the dehydrator outside. Okay, you do not want to put the dehydrator inside. You will run everybody
It's like
out of the
gas chamber.
He also asked
I have done
another
that.
question, which you answered really literally, is so the older the plant gets, if you keep the plant, the older it gets, the less potent or the less flavorful of the pepper then, correct?
Changes, correct. You're getting changes of size of the pepper, the number of seeds going to be in the pepper. That means heat's going to be different on each pepper, and the flavor changes.
So if we, us common everyday normal folk, wanted to do pepper plants, we do pepper plants, and then about every 2 years put in new plants.
That's
2
perfect.
years?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, 2-3 years. I mean, just look at the plant and see what it's doing. As soon as you start seeing what we call the dinks, and even our plants now, what I'm picking now is we're going to see their B quality, because they have about half of them are the size of the top of my pinky. They just get real small, and because they won't grow anymore because it's too cold.
Yeah. So I'm looking at some of these others. Going backwards. Here's one. So Dad told him about his groups that he could eat anything, and he put a pepper in his shirt pocket, and it blistered his chest.
I can see that.
We know that when so it gets really hot, especially underneath that shade cloth in the summer. And we've gone through and just grabbed a few peppers that didn't look really good and just put them in your pocket and throw away later on. And went and sat down, and your pants are wet from the sweat. And you'll sit there, and if you don't take them out, about half an hour later, you go, "Why is my leg burning?" Oh, and you have to reach in there and pull out, because you basically just squish that kind of capsaicin onto your leg. So been there, done that. Understand all about that too.
Yeah, like I said, you don't wash your hands. You put your hands in certain parts, you're going to remember that you had peppers for the day.
Don't rub your eye.
Nope.
Oh yeah, in fact, that got me a couple of weeks ago when I made some chili. I had forgotten and rubbed my eye, and then I went, "Oh crap!" And I had to go, rinse water through me, because I realized as soon as it started, I knew exactly what I'd done wrong. So you have to be careful. I mean, you have to be careful with other peppers too, but you don't even have to cut up the datil peppers. If you just handle them in your fingers,
The oil's there.
Get it?
Yep.
You will. So it's and it's a versatile thing, like you said, perlo, gumbo, black-eyed peas and rice, sauces.
Even like Great Northerns. I put them pretty much any beans, they go great in.
Yeah, I like Great Northerns with ham, and I put that in there. And then we were talking pre-show. You're getting ready to go over to a location here in St. Johns County and infuse datil into tequila.
Correct. A restaurant, a well-known restaurant over in St. Augustine, does a datil pepper margarita. It's actually really good. And so I asked the bar manager, "How do you infuse the datil peppers?" And so he explained that they basically just put them in a pot, and they just infuse them over a couple of weeks. And my thought was, how many peppers are you using to do this? And he told me quite a lot. And I said, "Well, how would I like to do that about 1/10 of the number of peppers, and also get the non-fermented flavor out?" And he's like, "What?" And I said, I explained the system, the infusing system that my wife Heidi actually does, ISI, and you can infuse, take 8 datil peppers, cut them up, infuse it into any tequila, and take that 16 ounces of tequila, spread it out over 5 bottles, and you've got fresh tasting hot datil peppers in your margarita, rather than having that fermented kind of flavor that you can get a sort of an acrid, taste out of.
You guys are going to be invited to come to my house with your infuser, and I'm going to have several bottles of rum sitting there.
No problem.
We're going to infuse some rum.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Because I'd like to try it with rum.
Your white liquors work well. Your vodkas really work well. Your obviously tequila does too. But your white rums will work real well too. Normally your spice rum, it sort of has it changes the whole flavor profile to it doesn't really work well. At least that's our testing. And not if we drink too much, or I don't know if I won't say it
You
like
get
that.
to the right level, it's perfect.
Exactly.
You know what? I never thought of it, but datil pepper vodka infused with datil pepper would make some fine Bloody Marys.
There's a couple of companies out there that make Bloody Marys, and we are quite the Bloody Mary aficionados. And we really like a good Bloody Mary, and the more datil, the better. In fact, that's our hashtag for the year is #needs-more-datil. But we like a Bloody Mary. Datil pepper lends itself very well. It goes well with tomato in general, and we really like using it in a Bloody Mary. So the more companies, more restaurants that want a good Bloody Mary, hook us up. We will come show you how to make it.
So you both have deep roots going back into the Menorcan time frame and the 1880s in Florida. So you are Florida boys.
Absolutely. Born and raised.
So it's great that you're bringing out this, what's the word I want to use here? You're bringing out the historical value of datil peppers through your Menorcan background and your heritage. And food is just a great, the word that hits my head right now is pacifier, but food is a great, pacifier is not the word I want to use. Family meals are a great way for families to come together.
Absolutely.
Sure, absolutely. Yep.
And for recipes that have been handed down through the generations, it makes it even better. And then when you can share a portion of it with the public, you really do a service to your family and your heritage and everything else. Let's see here. What you all are describing, datil pepper and alcohol, is tincture.
Yeah.
Tincture. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. It just makes it another way to use it. It's flexible, It's a very versatile pepper.
Is your infusion machine portable?
I'll be right back.
So
Okay.
you're talking about how food being that kind of unifier and bringing families together. It's also for a city like St. Augustine, which has a really vibrant tourist population of people coming in. That's the best way to get to know a town or get to know a city is through the food, and not the chain restaurants and places like that, but the local flavor. If I go to a new town, I don't want to go to Ruth's Chris or Longhorn. I want to go to where are the locals at? Where do you go when you want something, and what are you eating? And that's really what the datil pepper says about St. Augustine and Northeast Florida. If you're a restaurant and you're locally owned and operated, and you haven't at least explored the possibility of how to incorporate this pepper, which is such a part of our culture, into your menu, then you're really missing the boat, because people will take that home with them and they will remember that as, hey man, they had this datil pepper, and that's what they're going to remember is that type of connection to the roots of the place that they were visiting.
Scott?
Yes, sir.
You got that infuser there?
So this is a whipper. Okay. Basically you open it up. You put your datil peppers and tequila inside. You can do up to 1 pint on this one here, for example. And 1 pint with 8 datil peppers in it will infuse 5 full fifths of tequila. And basically you tighten it down. You take off the cap. You put a nitrous oxide charger inside and screw it back down. And once you get down, you tighten it down, it'll infuse it. And the difference between what this does, this actually is taking the flavor of the datil pepper and the heat on top of that, and it's basically just infusing it instantaneous. So within 15 minutes, it's completely infused. And basically, like I said, you can get it as hot as you want, okay? But basically, you want it for the flavor more than anything else. If you go into, for example, Starbucks, and get anything with a whipped topping on your latte and those kind of things, you actually get your cream out of one of these EC whippers. It is absolutely spectacular, and it's really fun to play with for at least Scott and myself and Heidi.
Yes.
Well, I'm thinking we're going to have a rum party.
I'm good.
That's how we usually at the farm.
Over here. It'll have to be after the first of the year, though. But I think we're going to have a rum party.
Sounds great.
Sounds great.
What's that?
We'll tie it into Pirate Fest.
The Pirate Festival is February 1 and 2, Saturday and Sunday. But we do need to figure out how to get you involved in that and be a part of it. And now you know why the rum is gone. Yeah, that's because Captain Mayhem is always after it. So, is there anything you haven't tried with Datil that you're thinking of trying or that you think would be really cool?
Well, there's a company in St. Augustine that does it, and we personally have not tried it, but I am dying to make a chocolate Datil pepper ice cream. I just really like the idea of chili peppers and chocolate. The darker the chocolate, the better. And I think it would make an amazing ice cream. And it would cool your mouth while giving you that Datil pepper flavor. So that's something that I would like to try, but that we haven't done it. I know other people have done successfully.
That sounds like a good idea.
All your sweets. Yeah, all your sweets work well. My wife makes a Datil pepper Oreo fudge. That is to die for. It gives that sweetness that you like out of an Oreo cookie. But it gives you that little Datil flavor and that little heat at the end. Awesome.
So my brother, there's 2 points here. I'm going to pop up the first one here. My brother said his wife is a bar manager, and he has a pirate festival over there in October. So it might be a good idea to spread yourself out over to there too.
Love that idea.
And my son, I have a rule on vacation. We have to eat at local places as much as we can. That's the way I was when I was in the military and overseas. I ate at a lot of mom and pop hole in the wall joints in Japan and Korea and the Philippines. And, and
I was in Okinawa, so there, you hit those little alleyway places. It's just you go to a half door and knock on the window, and they bring you something to the table. That's how to the door. That's how you know it's good.
Yeah, you don't even have to. You don't even have to really see a menu. You walk in and they only have 1 or 2 things, and you sit down. And by the time you're ready, they bring it to you.
That's it.
So my son is a history teacher, and he was saying, wasn't there a form of hot chocolate the Aztecs made using peppers?
Absolutely, and that's where I got the idea. Was actually from that Aztec style hot chocolate. And when you start looking into it, and that they use that, and I've made it a couple of times, and it really is. It's surprising how well it goes together. And then chocolate and any kind of hot pepper, but I think the Datil works so well because it does have that kind of fruity overtone. It makes a great dark chocolate. Somebody made a bonbon, dark chocolate Datil pepper bonbon. And it was just amazing. And it was like a really almost bitter chocolate, but with that full on Datil pepper flavor. So yeah, he's absolutely right.
So
and I'll tell you that a lot of the cultures, including the Aztecs, and a lot of your cultures actually find that peppers are medicinal. So they would actually have them in most of the meals. That way they actually had, as they put it, medicine to help their stomachs out with ulcers and all sorts of things.
Yeah. If you look at any cultures, I lived in Japan, the Philippines, Korea, a few others. They all have their peppers. They all have their spices. And everybody, even the American Medical Association, makes comments that spicing up your food to a certain level, you can overdo it, obviously, but to a certain level is not bad for your system, but good for your system. So, I mean, when you heat your body up, you heat your internal body up, you digest, you process things better. And that's one of the purposes of peppers, or one of the uses of peppers, not necessarily the purpose, but Datil peppers have been in our lives since I can remember as a little boy. And it was something that I remember Dad coming home late at night from working, and he liked tripe. My mom wouldn't eat tripe. He wouldn't tell us what it was, but he'd be frying up tripe and, cooking it with datil peppers. So
Yep.
I
Good old
don't
honeycomb.
think there's anything datil peppers won't go with.
Haven't found it yet. Milk,
Yep.
maybe.
What's that?
Straight up milk, maybe. I
I
haven't
don't
really
know.
found anything that it didn't
Datil
work
pepper
well
milk
with.
doesn't sound very good to me anyway.
Milk was a bad choice.
No, that would be terrible. But you're talking about ice cream. You're talking about chocolate. Obviously, you can use datil pepper in sweet things because you
Absolutely.
get a combination. And if you get the right combination of sweet and hot, it's flavorful, and that's the best part about datil peppers.
It is, and I heard you mention that you make. I heard you mention that you make a venison chili.
Yes.
If you have access to venison and you have access to some of our hot sauce and datil peppers, it makes just a world-class beef jerky or venison jerky.
Oh yeah,
it's a really good way to put the pepper to use. And even if you have some of the leftovers, like if you scraped your seeds and things like that, and you don't want to just throw them away, you can cut that down with some soy sauce and some Worcestershire sauce and marinate your slivers of meat and then dry it, and you'll have all that datil pepper flavor, probably a little bit of heat, depending on how much you like it. And it's really, really good. It's hard to replicate, and it would be hard to do on a commercial basis, but doing it for yourself and for your friends, it's a great way to use every bit of the pepper.
And because I had a bottle of your sauce sitting in the cupboard, because I'm very guarded with certain sauces in my cupboard, and yours is one of them. But we did probably last April, we had an oyster fest in my backyard, and raw oysters and Mayhem datil sauce.
Mm-hmm.
As Dad used to say, make your tongue slap your brains out.
Every year on New Year's Eve, we have an oyster thing at my house. We have our friends over and always go through several bottles of Mayhem.
So my brother asked if you have a recipe for datil jerky.
I have a recipe, and I can tell you right now, it's my recipes are kind of in my head kind of thing. But basically, take your datils. I would, depending on how much meat you're going to use, you want to use about half Worcestershire, half soy sauce, and then add your datils until you get it to where you want, and then a little bit of brown sugar. And once you kind of get the level of heat that you want to let your meat soak in that overnight, at least overnight. If you can do it for a couple of days in the refrigerator, it's just going to take in more flavor. And then put it in your dehydrator. Or my brother's technique is to put it on a wooden skewer, hang it from the racks in your oven at the lowest temperature with a spoon in the door so it doesn't get too hot, and do it overnight. It comes out perfect.
Oh, wow. That's a good idea. I just went back to the beginning, and I was looking at some of the other. So Nightingale in Florida asked if I put datil peppers in my chili, and I do. I see Mike T is on board. He is the captain of the Ancient City Privateers. We're glad to have him aboard.
Hi, Captain.
Howdy.
Let's see. It'd be easier if I put my glasses on so I could see what I'm doing. Oh, look, there's a screen in front of me. How about that? All right. So it looks like we've got nothing but everybody that likes datils, and I don't see one negative post on anything having to do with datils. So that's a good thing.
Good.
Can you see, Davey, can our guests see the list of questions too?
Yes.
Okay, so if anything pops up you see that I missed, just say something and we'll pop it up there.
All right.
So let's see what else is in here. Now, this one here, my wife always brags about this. Her dad ate chili peppers with every meal, but not datil peppers. And the chili peppers he ate were always super hot. He ate them like they were fruit. Some people can do that.
Well,
So,
Not me.
I'm good for a little bit. I had uncles that could do that, but no.
and then her dad used to make her boyfriends eat them at dinner with us.
Pumping it out. Come on.
He only ate at our. Her boyfriend only ate at their house once. Well, that's better than a shotgun.
Prove your worth, young man.
Oh man. So, what's the distance? Have you kept track? How far away have you sent Datil products of any type?
I think the farthest that we sent was not Datil's, but I know we sent hot sauce to a girl that had come out here to Wales, right? It come out to University of Florida to do some research on the Datil pepper, and then went home and we sent her a bottle of sauce. And that was probably 8 years ago. That was a while ago. I think
we send some FPO, APO addresses overseas to some of the bases over in Germany too.
Oh, yeah. You probably, and some of those guys are probably military from St. Augustine.
Probably.
Definitely. And that's
one. I had some Datil pepper sauce when I was in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I really appreciate and enjoy is reading all the notes that people put, especially when they're buying fresh Datil peppers, that their grandfather used to make it, or their uncles used to make it, or whoever used to make it in their family, and they can't believe they can have fresh Datil peppers shipped to them, and we appreciate that. It's what the Save the Datil all came from, is about just bringing that love and culture all across the nation, for people that can't get a hold of Datil peppers or grow them, up north. You can grow Datil peppers, but you're already going to get maybe one pick by the time the frost starts hitting them.
Yeah.
Unless you grow them inside, it's the only chance to get them. And we, like I said, we ship them all over the nation, out to Seattle, Washington, and 99% of the time they come in perfect, and we're really proud about that.
So my son says he needs to try this pepper, and so you should go to the SaveTheDatilPepper.com and make you an order, because you're going to get 10% off. And
yep.
There's a, well, look at all that there.
I thought I'd plug it for him, Captain.
There you go. Very good. I guess I'm going to have to go on there too, because I'm about out of sauce, so we need some. Here's the one that made me laugh while you were talking. I wasn't trying to be rude or anything, but this is my brother in Panama City. The negative of too much is the more the hot, the more you have to take a single serve popsicle to the bathroom. We're not going to expand on that, but you can use your imagination.
I always make the comment, hey, listen, I want it hot. I don't want to feel it tomorrow morning.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good one, Ransom. That one made me laugh. So as we've been talking, I had an idea, and seeing your property and everything, I'd like to figure out some time to come out to your property with Davey and our cameras and do some video
sure.
that we can use to talk about the show and do whatever else to promote what you're doing.
And we love customers coming out to the farm and visiting too, just with some notice, because Scott and myself are in and out of here. I stay here on the farm all the time, for the most time. But there's times that I go down south or I'm out, picking up fertilizer and those kind of things. I don't want to miss anybody if they decide to want to come by. Just give us a heads up and on Instagram or Facebook Messenger, something like that, and we'll definitely respond back to them. And we love people coming out.
How long a drive is it from here?
About 45 minutes.
That's okay. That's not bad.
Yep.
45 minutes.
So straight out 207.
What's that?
Come straight out 207 through Hastings and to 17, and I mean you're practically there at that point.
All right, very good. I can take 206 to 207 and 207 all the way out.
Exactly.
Very good. Well, we'd like to. I think, Davey, what do you think? Go out there and take some videos and some interviews and everything, and add it to another show down the road.
Oh yeah, with the plants, yeah.
Yeah.
The plants are getting ready to be pulled here probably in the next couple of weeks. They'll be all pulled out, getting ready for, like I said, the next planting in February. But we'll definitely have smaller plants, but they'll start producing. Normally our first full pick happens either late June or beginning of July, around the 4th of July. And then, like I said, we pick them until we get the first freeze or frost. And luckily, old man winter, I thought was going to get us this past week, and it got almost to freezing, and the frost really stayed above on top of the shade cloth really well. So we were lucky to be able to pull the rest of the peppers we got out of there.
Yeah, we could bring Mini Mayhem out there.
I love it. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
We'll have them right on the phone.
I would
We'll
like
have-
to see the
have
reaction of the
Mini-
Datil dogs to Mini Mayhem.
There you
What's
go.
that?
Well,
I'd like to see how the Datil dogs react to the Mini Mayhem. If you look at the one picture of the peppers on the table, we've got 2 dogs that come out.
Yeah.
Ochi is the Australian Shepherd. He's the 10-year-old boss of the
Good man.
place. He's the boss, and then the other one is Rooster, the Rottweiler. He's just now turned a year old, and they are all on fire. They love coming out there and running around. I'd like to see what they did with the Mini Mayhem.
I can see Mini Mayhem passed out in the pile of too many peppers.
Well, it would be great. Troy, we've been friends now, all 3 of us, we've been friends now on and off for, I don't know, what, 2.5, 3 years now?
Yep,
Just running
exactly.
into each other.
Yep.
I think it's time for us to start collaborating on some other directions to go with what you guys are doing and be included at our festival. And I don't normally do this, but I'd like to figure a way to make you a part of our podcast on a regular basis too.
We like that idea. So I do have a question for you.
Ask.
All right. So as somewhat local of myself and always looking for another excuse to come down to St. Augustine, what's the secret to getting through St. Augustine this time of year with the nights of lights going on? Where do we hide our car so that we can get in there?
Well,
come early.
that's probably the only. Come early or come late.
Yeah.
I'm lucky because of these Santa Claus gigs that I'm doing. I have a place to park. Are you familiar with the old cigar building on Riberia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where we run the carts out of. And so we have some spaces for the character actors to park. But
We're characters.
What's that?
We're characters.
You are. And they do have parking there that is open to the public. But either if you're there early or you come later, from the 5, 6, the 5:30, 6:30, 7:30 tours that I do, I can't even get the cart through most of the traffic.
Wow.
And it's just, it's ridiculous. But the 8:30, 9:30 is a little better. 10:30 is a little better. But when I'm doing the pirate run, the Captain Mayhem runs in January, and I'll send you the dates. That might be something you might want to consider doing and coming out. And take one of the rides, and if you take one of the later ones, depending on how you feel about driving later at night, but take one of the later ones, and when I'm done, we'll go hit a bar or two and have some rum and enjoy it. We'll just slip our Datil pepper juice out in a little flask and put it in our drinks.
I'll make sure I bring the EC whipper, and we'll definitely infuse some of your rum.
But it would be a fun evening. I'll send you some dates and let you know. And you got a banner, we'll put you got a flag, we'll put your flag out there. And
we do.
I think I sent you a picture of the flag, or a video of the flag anyway.
What's that?
I think I sent a video of the Mayhem flag. I'll find we're out shrimping one day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
we'll have to,
Wait a minute.
I think. Go ahead, Davey. What?
Yeah, we're very grateful for I'm very grateful for my best friend's friendship, and for us when we started this in 2012 to where it's at today is just we very much appreciate all of our Mayhem maniacs, and everybody's joined in and made comments and helped us along and gave us the suggestions that we've taken, and we just appreciate everybody's help.
You guys did another little video clip too. Hold on.
What's this? You got another one?
The Christmassy.
Was there Christmas music in that?
Yeah.
It was. We love listening to Christmas music. We listen to Bob Marley. We love listening to music and kicking back. It's really relaxing. It's very it's methodical, mindless. You're just looking for that best looking Datil pepper. Oh, look at that one there. Oh, look at that one. And you go through, and 5-6 hours later, you're going, hey, I'm out here all day long doing this.
Well, Datil peppers are kind of an important part of this entire society here, and you guys have got a good corner on it. Are there other Datil pepper farms in the area now since you started?
There are 3 commercial growers that we know of that are growing heirloom quality Datil pepper plant. And again, a few, 1,000 or more, okay, plants. And again, that's where it's so important for us to have your listeners and your people watching this grow their own. We want everybody to grow them because I'm 60 and I don't want to be growing these for another 20 years. I want to enjoy myself doing traveling. So
we're ready to go
at
fishing.
some point we fishing exactly or shrimping, and so we want everybody to start growing these so we don't lose them. And that's where Save the Datil came from. Because there's very few of us that are crazy enough to actually grow these on a commercial scale.
So when's the best time for me to come out and get a couple of plants?
Well, we'll have seedlings. I would say probably the first week in March we'll have seedlings available. We normally do the first batch to get planted in. Then I take a few hundred and then start basically babying them, getting them ready for our Mayhem maniacs to come pick them up. But we normally have a couple, one in March and normally one in April. We'll have people come out to the farm and we'll educate them and show them everything we know about the Datil pepper and how to grow them and just try to advance the Datil pepper.
Well, let's make a plan for a tentative plan for April.
Sounds great. Love it.
Because, I mean, myself and the crew and the swashbucklers, we have our Pirate Festival in February, and then we jump right into March. And March is the Celtic Festival and the Seafood Festival this year.
Mm-hmm.
So February and March, January, February, March, I was telling Davey before you guys come on, it's too busy for us. And we want to, Davey and I have been working on the idea of a pirate short movie that we want to do, and we haven't had a chance to do it. Now we think that in April, May, June, July, and August, we'll have a chance to actually do our movie too. So,
and more than likely, we're probably going to be part of the St. Augustine Seafood Festival this year. Also, we're probably going to have a booth there. More than likely, actually selling both plants, obviously our sauces, seeds and those kind of things. More than likely, we're probably going to be there.
Well, I have another idea too. After looking at the picture and knowing how much property you have out there, we have some scenes that we need to do in our pirate thing that we need to have good wilderness without anything modern day. We may have to come out and shoot some of our movie out there on your property.
We love it. Absolutely. Yeah, we got some great areas.
Then I have to put you in the credits of the movie.
There we go.
Okay.
So might be something fun to do.
Cred.
Hey, maybe we can even put you guys in a couple of pirate outfits, but I'll warn you, you guys are going to be like the red shirt Star Trek guys.
Like that.
So you know that joke, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you're wearing the red shirt, you're not going to last the end of the show.
We'll make the first commercial break.
You be gone.
But what do you think, Davey? They got property out there. Some of the scenes we've talked about might work out very well out there.
Yeah, because there's no houses, there's nothing. So
nothing. So maybe we'll make some plans.
Sounds great.
Absolutely.
And do that. So that would be. We're always looking at ways to do things. My brother says the pirate should come in and take over your peppers.
Absolutely, that'd be a great one. Them coming through and checking everything, and that'd be neat.
Maybe we can make, besides the ideas of this filament that we want to do, maybe we can. We're always looking at trying to do some kind of something social for our crew, and maybe coming out there for a social afternoon would be kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, especially if we get closer to summertime, when it starts getting warming up, the lake warms up pretty quick too, so you can come out and jump in the lake too.
I might throw a few of them in. Maybe we'll put a plant over it. Pepper Pirates sounds like a Veggie Tale movie.
Pirates, love it.
Well, the entire Datil Pepper Society is really, like I said, it's been a part of our lives since we were kids. Obviously, it's a big part of your life, and it was a huge part of the Menorcan way of life.
Mhm.
And little bits and pieces of that part of St. Augustine, I hope never dies out, because some things in St. Augustine are dying out.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is.
And I hope this is one of those things that will continue ongoing, especially if you just want to go fishing.
Exactly. So,
Always wanna
can
go
we
fishing.
do a shout out for Datil Fest 2025?
Absolutely.
So this is our flyer from this past year.
Right. Yeah.
So cold beer, live music. It was a blast. It was very stressful leading up to it because trying to put this together in less than 3 months was definitely a task. And we nailed it. We had such a good time, and we had so many people show up.
You
With
did it on
very
your
few
property?
advertising, it was
You did it on
wonderful.
your property?
No, we actually had at Riverfront Palaca.
Oh, really?
Yes, we had the amp. We had Grandpa's Cough Medicine, Bryce Allister Band, Wes Cobb, and Jelly Rollers out there too. And it was just a really fun day. There's so many awesome people we got a chance to meet. Some people we haven't seen in 10, 12 years too, which was really neat. And people were coming from all over the country, including LA, all over Minnesota, New York. And we just
Now,
had a blast doing it.
we ran into each other a couple of weeks before that event, and you gave me an invite, but there was some reason I couldn't go. What weekend was it?
Oh, you had Spectacular.
Well, is it the
It was
weekend?
It was October 26th. It was the week
the
before
26th.
Halloween.
Yeah.
What weekend are you doing it?
We've decided I think we're going to do tentatively on November 8th. That'll be past that time period.
Oh, good. Well, then that might be something that we could work out some other things to do then. November 8th. Yeah, that would. I'm looking at the calendar. I'm looking at the calendar now.
Oh, you got your glasses on.
I got my glasses on, so I can see the
I had to
calendar.
do it. Sorry.
November 8th would be 2 weekends after Spooktacular, so that would
Right.
be really good.
And that's what we're thinking too, because and like I said, we had a great turnout. Really was amazing, and and all the profit we got, which wasn't a whole lot, it's all going back into next year's event. So it's going to be even bigger than it was this year. And again, we love the Datil Pepper, and we just want everybody to enjoy it like we do.
Well, cool. I'd love to be a part of it and join in and bring some pirates and have a good time. And I see a whole lot of possibilities here now that we finally sat down and had a chat.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But
We're
going
always about that.
believe it or not, we're going to pop in a couple of last minute things. At this point right now, when at the end of a guest segment, we have another video that's this week in history. So it's going to give you guys a chance to take a break, fill your mugs, and Davey's going to put This Week in History, which is sponsored by our good friends at Dick's Wings. And we'll be talking about sponsorships with the overall community in just a few minutes. But Dick's Wings has a great lunch special. On Tuesdays, you can get a burger for less than $10. That's a good deal. So, Davey, how about This Week in History?
Welcome to This Week in History, sponsored by our good friends at Dick's Wings Bar and Grill. Wings, salads, wraps, quesadillas, and more. No matter what your taste buds crave, they've got you covered. We begin This Week in History in the year 1775. At Fort Ticonderoga, New York, Henry Knox begins his historic transport of abandoned British artillery to Boston, Massachusetts. Later forces the British to evacuate Boston. 1793, Noah Webster establishes New York's first daily newspaper, the American Minerva. 1906, U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt is the first American awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. 1914, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson signs Harrison Narcotics Tax Act to regulate and tax production importation, and distribution of opiates and cocoa products. 1934. First streamlined steam locomotive introduced in Albany, New York. 1965. A Charlie Brown Christmas. The first Peanuts animated special premieres on CBS in the U.S. 1973. Pirates of the Caribbean ride opens at Disneyland. 1974. Disaster film The Towering Inferno is released, starring Steve McQueen and Paul Newman. 1992. U.S. Marines and Allied nations launch an amphibious and airborne operation in Mogadishu, Somalia, to restore order to the war-torn nation, authorized by UN Security Council Resolution 794, passed on December 3rd. 2022. Tens of thousands of nurses go on strike in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, in the largest strike in the NHS history. And finally, in 2023, U.S. jury orders American attorney Rudy Giuliani to pay $148 million to two former Georgia election workers in civil defamation suit for spreading lies about them following the 2020 presidential election. And that was This Week in History.
Very good, Davey. Very good. Now, at this point in time, from the captain's desk, I always write something up that bothered me or I think needs concern. And here's the only thing I'm going to say. Two things. Mind your traffic manners while you're out and about. The city is filled with knuckleheads. Please be careful. And two, if you don't like Santa Claus or you don't like the concept of Santa Claus, stay home. I had a bad rider on my cart the other night, a gentleman, and I should not use the word gentleman, but a man that was in his 50s at least and was just terrible rude about Santa. And there were children on the cart, and he just didn't care. And I had to lean over and whisper in his ear in my Mayhem voice that he was on the verge of being kicked off the cart.
Good for you.
You exactly what I said, but it was not very pretty.
Congratulations.
Good for you.
It's just, look, there are all kinds of things about Santa, but the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of Santa is extremely important. I even have sometimes 9, 10, and 11-year-old kids that still believe. Why ruin it?
Right.
Let them enjoy and let them believe. It's just wrong. And that's all I'm going to say for this week's Captain's Desk. We also talk about guests on deck. And believe it or not, right now at this point, because I've been so busy, and believe it or not, I have 22 Santa rides between now and Sunday night. So I'm busy. I have not had a real solid chance to start working on guests for 2025. I have a schedule already worked out, and I'm looking at certain kinds of dates because some of the shows we did last year, like our Veterans Day show, was a great show. We did it from the poker table and not from the studio, and had a great show with 6 veterans sitting here talking about Veterans Day. So I'm working on guests for the whole year of 2025. If any of you sees this or you know anybody that wants to be on the show, especially captains of other pirate crews, because we'd like to help you advertise some of your events. We'd love to have you on board the show. And that brings us to one more thing. All of our sponsors have reached their expiration now. And it's time for me to bring in either remakes of these sponsors that are part of the show or new sponsors to replace those that are stepping away. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you know anybody that would like to sponsor our show, and you see that we have them sponsor segments and we do all kinds of other things for them, send us a message or let us know. I am working on a couple, and we'd love to have some sponsors. It's not free to do this show. We have to pay for everything. And so having sponsors makes it good for us. And I will say this, myself Davy Longwood and Mandy Joe. Davy and Mandy work very hard on this show, and they don't get a paycheck. But in 2025, I'm hoping to change that by at least buying them a couple of sticks of gum and a couple of popsicles on a monthly basis. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
That being the case, Davy, I know I'm going to regret this, but bring Mini Mayhem back
Wait a
in.
minute. Mandy did do a guest on deck.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's see it. I forgot about them. They're on our show next week. They, the owner of our Loving Our Town St. Augustine magazine, and about 4 or 5 of their staff will all be sitting around my table, and we'll be talking about that magazine. When they first did the magazine 2 years ago, I think it was, they picked my ugly mug to be the cover of that magazine. So now I'm writing for the magazine, and I write a story. They do it every other month, and I write something. This last time, the question was, did pirates celebrate Christmas? And believe it or not, in my research, I found out that many of the pirates did, in some way, shape, or form, celebrate Christmas. So I wrote an article about it. All right.
Now you can regret.
With that, now let's hear the regretful Mini Mayhem.
Okay, it's time for the answer to the joke of the week. Why did the pirate put a wreath on his door? The answer is so everyone knew it was a Jolly Roger Christmas.
See, now the guys like it, and Mandy's secretly laughing. I know.
The only reason the guys like it is because they've been handling Peppers. See, and look at him. He's scratching his eyes already.
It's the rum. It's the rum.
It's the rum. Ladies and gentlemen, we always like to thank all of our sponsors and the people that we have that are part of the show. And so we have created these little videos that we do to thank everybody and let you know about our show. So let's first do our thank you video, Davey.
The Captain's Quarters podcast is indeed a ship sailing the seas of the world, always in search of history, knowledge, and adventure. It takes a crew to run a ship, so we take this opportunity to thank those who help keep this ship afloat.
The casting crew: Captain William Mayhem, Navigator Davy Longwood, Gunner Hellfire Henley, Cartographer Mandy Joe, the Powder Monkey, and Juan Cam.
Helping others gives a crew purpose. Our treasured charities that we support: Inc., investing in kids; the Humane Society of St. Johns County; Alia's Acres, a no-kill animal rescue zone; and the Cadets of the St. Johns County Fire Department. The 4 major charities that we support, but there's always room for more.
You too can be part of the crew and support the show in many ways. Go to Patreon. A small monthly contribution as Powder Monkey or First Mate memberships, or a single contribution. PayPal or Venmo. Go to YouTube, hit the like and follow buttons to join our ranks and support the show. It does take a crew. Thank you.
Very good, Davey. And our platforms. You can watch us on YouTube live every Monday night at 8 o'clock. Then we download automatically to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Or you can just listen to us on iHeart, Amazon Music, Twitter, Castbox, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Oh, yes, and you can watch us on Spotify. And if you haven't heard me say it before, I'll say it tonight. We're on Spotify because I'm trying to give Joe Rogan a run for his money.
Go for it.
Yes. Hey, I'm a pirate. I dream big.
Got to.
Yes. Show our numbers, Davey. Are they good? Very good. Our numbers are strong and always getting better. At least they've never gone backwards. Right, Mandy? On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I always like to, at the end of the show, give our guest the opportunity for a last word. So, whichever one of you wants to start, you may have the last word, and then we'll switch it to the other. You have anything you want to say? Anything at all? It's okay.
Scott, go ahead.
Well, I just want to thank you for having us on the show. We really enjoyed it. We are always looking for opportunities to tell our story and talk about the Datil Pepper. And, I have a deep love for St. Augustine and for this part of Florida. I'm a native born Florida. If you want to call me a cracker, that's okay. But anything we can do to push this forward and help other people with their Datil Peppers or their food, we're just happy to be there and happy to help. And, long live Florida.
There you go. Very good. Go ahead, Troy.
Well, again, I want to say thank you to all our Mayhem Maniacs that have supported us for the last, 12 plus years, 13 growing seasons for that matter. With all their comments and thank yous and stories they've given us, we couldn't do it without you guys. And, we hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a great New Year. So thank you very much, Team Mayhem. And we're looking forward to having you guys that come out here to the farm.
I think it'd be a great fun time to come out to the farm and have just get some good pictures, some good videos. I don't see a downside to any of that.
So, I got some areas I think you could scope out that would work very well for some of your scenes.
Very good. I think it would be a lot of fun. Davey and I may come out for one trip on our own to do some scoping, and
Sounds
then
good.
we'll work on some kind of a social event or some kind of an event that would include as many of the crew that wanted to come out and do the same thing, and maybe figure out how to feed them once they're out there too. That'd be a lot of fun. So we'll figure something out. We'll have some fun.
We can definitely have Scott make some Perlo.
I would like that. I like Perlo. I do like that. Well, it was great to have you on board the show. In just a minute, we're going to do our call out, and the show will our ship will take off for new adventures. Don't run away just yet. Are you ready, David?
Yes, of course.
I know you are. You were looking at something else already. Mandy, you ready? Go ahead, Davey.
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew.
Always. We cannot do it without you. We could, but it would not be as much fun. So we want you all with us every Monday night at 8 o'clock. Captain's Quarters Podcast. Until next week, fine sailing, fair winds, and following seas.
Down of history's embrace, Captain's Quarters sets the